call to order the November 20th meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission.
All you need to go to is attendance first.
Millie, could you do a roll call?
Commissioner Bartholomew,
Here.
Commissioner Tataroni,
Here.
Commissioner Serrato,
Here.
Commissioner Stratton,
Here.
Commissioner Turner,
Here.
Commissioner Samaro.
Here. Next on the agenda is the minutes from October 16th. Are there any comments, or could we have a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Tataroni,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro.
Abstain. Public participation. There will be a 2-hour time limit for this meeting unless a majority of the commission members present vote to extend the allotted time. For public participation on agenda items, a person may speak for no more than 3 minutes in total on any item appearing on the agenda. Next is the commissioner's report.
Madam Chair, if there's anybody that wants to speak who doesn't have an item on the agenda, this is the general public, they should do that now. What is it, which one?
CPA grant for the skateboard, the hockey? Yeah.
Yeah, you're on it,
Yeah, wait till-
so you wait.
Nobody online? Okay.
So thank you, Madam Chair, on the Commissioner's report. In your packages, you will have the 2026 Rules and Regulations draft for your review. We're looking for approval of those. Yeah, I'd be happy to take any questions on those or anything else. What we did do is highlighted areas or items that are being looked at to be changed or modified or more information included are in yellow. So anything that is of the black font is what was currently there the year before.
Through the chair. The only question I have under number 29, the sponsorship displays. What comes to my mind is like the little leagues or the hockey rinks with, if a councilman puts a sign up as a sponsor.
So the way we've worded it in our policy, in our commission policy, is that council, state rep, anybody can put the sign up with their name on it. It just can't say vote for.
Okay.
But their name is fine, all of that. It's just the verb there for vote is the item that we don't want on the signs.
Okay.
Commissioner Stratton, did you want to comment?
Yeah, sorry, and I'll continue to raise my hand if I have questions, because I don't want to interrupt since I'm joining remotely. I have a few questions for you, Commissioner Antonelli. First, for item 5, the note regarding no other special event will be allowed at the park on the same day for that item. Have we run into situations where that's occurred in the past, or are we simply trying to prevent issues from occurring?
So we've had issues with that in the past. We've also looking to eliminate that particular issue where you have 2 events at Elm Park where it's a road race and half of Russell Street's taken up, or 2 people want the Worcester Common at the same time, or concurrent, or one right after the other, and there's not enough time for the reset of the facility. So it happens regularly. We get requests regularly, and this is just an item to sort of solidify that on that end of it. Precedent is set that that's what we do. We don't allow 2 events in a particular facility on the same day, but we wanted to codify it and put it in our rules and regulations so that we had that in writing.
Okay, and just to clarify, I guess further, in terms of priority, how do we decide who gets priority for one of those particular events? If we have two requests come in, is it simply first come, first serve?
It is not. So if it's an event that has previously been at that facility or at that weekend, so a lot of our events are ones that set a date. So it's like the third Wednesday of June, or it's the second Tuesday of April, or whatever it is.
It's an
right?
annual event.
Yeah, it's an annual event. It happens every year. It's always around the same time. It fluctuates a little bit based on, sort of when, what weekend it is, but it's very consistent. So they would get first priority. And then a lot of times what we'll do is we'll know those ahead of time because we'll already be looking to understand what those look like. And then once that happens, then we can open it up to everybody else. But a standard policy for all of ours, it's no different on sports fields as well. If a sports team has a facility, we give them first priority, who's had it previously, and then we fill in the gaps with other events and other organizations.
Gotcha. I have a few more questions on the roll. I spent a good amount of time looking through these.
Excuse
Regarding item number 1, all reservations for pavilions at Green Hill Park must have a permit on file for groups of 15 or greater. Again, sort of similar question. Is this an issue we've run into in the past? Or is this simply just, I'm trying to understand, I guess, the rationale behind that specific item.
Yep, so this is a major safety issue and security issue in the park. We've had events in the park that have said that they're 15 people, 20 people, and then all of a sudden the roadway is blocked, cars are on both sides of the road coming in and going out. You'd be hard-pressed to get an emergency vehicle through the park at that point in time. And so what we've looked to do, particularly in Green Hill, because we have very limited parking within the park, is to minimize that and manage that differently. So part of what will happen with this is that if it's less than 50, we will block off that lower parking lot because the majority of people want to use the pavilion. We're going to block off that lower parking lot. We're going to have a staff person on for that use, and we're only going to allow people to park in the lower parking lot that are part of the event. If you're more than that, then we're going to require 2 people, 2 staff, and we're actually going to shut down Green Hill Parkway coming in from Chandler Street so that we have more space for people to park as they come in and be able to accommodate the parking needs of the event. If you're over that 115 number of anticipated event or people that are looking to come, then we're going to shut down the entire park, and the only access point will be Belmont Street, and we're going to block off both parking lots and pretty much shut the park down for that event. Again, what we found is that people are parking on the grass, on the sidewalk. Now all of a sudden, by parking on the sidewalk, we're pushing people into the road. The road has now gone from a 2-lane road to maybe a 1-lane, even if that, and if you had a large vehicle like an ambulance or a fire truck, you're not getting that down the road. And it's really a public safety hazard when it comes to, how we access the park and how the park is being used. And so we're going to look to shut that down at that end of it. So that's the impetus of it. We've had multiple occasions of that. I've driven through it with both my city vehicle and my personal vehicle, had problems trying to get through, with a regular size SUV as well as a pickup truck. My staff had problems trying to get through with trucks and trailers and everything else and that kind of stuff. So we really need to better organize and better serve that and really put in the safety mechanisms that say, you know what, we understand you want to have this event, but we also need public safety here, and I can't have people walking in the middle of the road, cars stopping, people getting out, 2 lanes of traffic, who's backing up first? No one wants to back up. Now we're at a stalemate kind of stuff. So it's been a major problem in Green Hill Park.
So
That makes sense, and I appreciate the clarification on that.
Hold
hold on one second, Eric.
Can we
Certainly.
just go back to number 5? I wanted to know, is this, oh shoot, I forgot about what I was gonna say about number 5, but to Green Hill Park, to number 1, is it number 1? No grouping. Is it only Green Hill Park
Yes.
that this is an issue? I've been trying to think if there was any other parks in the, that have that kind of
The-
roadway kind of limitation.
The only other one through the chair is Bancroft Tower.
Okay,
And we've already managed that in a similar fashion. And that's how we've come up with the new Green Hill Park component, because there's not a lot of parking there. So as an example,
everything else is street parking, right?
yeah, we had a wedding at Bancroft Tower this fall, and they were anticipating somewhere around 75 to 100 people. The parking lot is a parking lot of
I know how big it is.
15 if you do it the right way. And so to make it safe for everybody, we shut the whole length down and put staff on both ends and allowed them to park on the side of the road, not on the grass, but on the side of the road, going up one direction, so that we weren't all over the place with our parking. And it worked really well on that end of it, right? I understand people don't want to pay for staff and everything else, but the public safety side of this thing is important. And the first person they're going to go to is me and us and say, well, we couldn't get a fire truck through here or an ambulance to save this gentleman who was having a heart attack. Why didn't you manage this better, right? And so what we're trying to do is manage it better and and make sure that emergency vehicles get through. It's a safe place for people to be able to participate.
I totally get it. I 100% support it because I've actually come through Green Hill Park and wanted to just get out my car and start screaming at people because there's people parked on both sides of that small roadway, as recently as this summer. And so I understand that. And Bancroft I can understand as well, especially the way you go up the street, there's houses there, and then you curve and turn. So I can definitely understand that. And then the way that road wraps going down the hill, it's awful when people park wrong down there. I've seen people almost get hit on that Bancroft Road. So,
one of the other things that we do when we piloted that this fall in Green Hill. The other thing that we'll end up doing is we'll end up talking to the golf course. So they'll send out an email blast to because we have people's emails who have signed up for tee times, and we'll advise them that your entrance is Belmont Street, Officer Manny Familia Way. And so we are putting that out in a, social media wise, as well as through the golf course, to make sure that people understand how we want them to come in. And then we haven't worked the final details out, but we've been working with the event organizers to give them, a placard or something that says, here, you are part of the event, you can park in a particular location, as a mechanism to try to do that. Whether that works or they assign somebody to sit at there and know who's who, it doesn't matter, but we're working through some of those logistical pieces to it to make it flow better, and so we're not backing traffic up. But those are more things that will sort of flush out as we go into this next year, to better manage that and to make it a cleaner process for the public who are just trying to get to the golf course. The other thing that we're looking at is when we have that particular issue where we're shutting the park down, we're going to plan to open up the small lot that's next to the Little League field, and that we'll use that lot for general public. So the general public is still welcome to come to the park. We just don't have the parking for the general public when there's an event in the park. So those are the concepts that we've worked through. And people could park up here at the school, or not the school, at our athletic field lot, and walk down as well, if they chose to. But that's usually not what people really want to do. They, they want to park as close as to a particular thing that they can get to.
So my question would be to help with using this upper parking lot. Is it something that, and this is just an idea, is it something that we could offer as an extra fee, extra service that you get a couple of staff members with golf carts? Because it's not like we're far from the golf course where we could use that as another way to have those guests park up here and then just offer that as an extra fee, nothing crazy, but something nominal, enough to cover the staffing for it.
So we've talked a little bit about that. The problem is that our golf carts are only 2 people, because our golf carts are 2, and then your clubs go on the back. So it's not like it's what we would call a people mover, right? Where that would have, 5 seats, 6 seats, like you see at the Worcester Red Sox or event like that. So if we were to do that, we'd have to rent those or buy those and have those available for that purpose. We have talked to a lot of the larger events about getting, like a small minivan or a van to move people back and forth to access this upper lot. A lot of times it becomes cost prohibitive because they have to rent the van, have a driver. There's a lot of components to it.
Yep.
We always did it when we had, the car shows. That was a regular thing. We always had that when we were citing people over here at the school or wherever else. So we always had it for that, but it gets difficult on that end of it to do all of that just because of the cost that we've had. So, one of the areas what we'll do for some events, we'll open up the top of the hill and allow parking up there. We've done that for large events in the park before, and we'll do that for them as well. The hiccup is that that's not handicap accessible. So we have to make sure that the handicap accessible units or facilities, people have access to those with a placard so that we can park them much closer to the event. But we've worked through some of those details before as well. So there's mechanisms there. It's just, we just want to get it in the system so we knew what was going on, so we could have it and be able to work from there.
Okay. And how are we notifying, like, the general public, when it comes to shutting the park down in this manner for larger events?
So it goes into social media. We use the city manager office to push that out. And then on the golf course side, the golf course gets to all of their members that are coming to play on that particular day during a particular time. So we'll say to the golf course, hey, usually people are starting to sort of show up in the morning for an event. So we'll just tell everybody that day, just come in through Belmont Street.
Okay.
And so we'll work it that way. So we use both of those 2 mechanisms.
Okay. I'm done with my questions. Thanks, Eric. You can go
Sorry,
ahead.
not a worry. So the next question I actually had on mine, for 7, you mentioned additional cost or fees to permit holders if they don't have all their proper documentation, things like that. Did you have a specific amount there? I know the cost is red, and I just didn't know if you had a specific amount in mind for that. This is on item 7.
Yeah, we don't. We haven't identified that yet on that piece of it. What we'll probably do, because we did not bring the fee policy to the commission as of right now. So at our next meeting, we'll bring the fee policy and we'll have that included in there.
Okay. And then for one of these is not one that you made edits to, but I think maybe we should revise. 17, to rollerblade, roller skate, skateboard, or ride a bike in any designated park area unless specifically identified for this purpose. I think we should reverse that to say that you're allowed to do those unless it's specified that you cannot. And the reason I would say that is, for me, for example, I was teaching my daughter how to ride a bike this summer, in green space down in Duffy Field. The signage is not always on all sides of the park. That, you know, if we don't want people riding on, say, a baseball field or on a, you know, basketball court or things like that, I think the signage really needs to reflect that you can't ride there, but it should be allowed anywhere else. If we haven't said you can't do it, it should be allowed. So I would request that we revise item 17 to simply say, you know, rollerblade, roller skate, skateboard, or biking is permitted unless specifically unless specifically prohibited.
I would give some pushback to that, and the reason being is that I've found that I do see people skateboarding and riding bikes in places that aren't appropriate, and it becomes more destructive.
Define appropriate.
It becomes more a baseball bench. The street hockey field. I've seen kids with skateboards in there doing some crazy stuff over the years. And that's what I mean. Like, it becomes.
I'd push back on that only because, for example, street hockey courts, if they're not being used for, you know, street hockey or, you know, roller hockey, you know, things like that, people play bicycle polo, as an example. So I think it gets really difficult because then we're certainly picking and choosing, and quite frankly, the parks do not have all of the facilities that people want. We know that. We have people coming to us for requests for pickleball and pump tracks and all sorts of things that we unfortunately just do not have yet at this time. I agree, we want to avoid damage to facilities and equipment. But I think this item could be rephrased in a better way, because I think otherwise it makes it very easy to simply say, oh, well, you can't bike in the park, because we haven't specifically identified that you can bike in this park, or skateboard or rollerblade. I think it gets too restrictive, and people should be able to enjoy the open space in these parks and the facility. And that if we want to prohibit something, I think we need to specifically say where we are prohibiting it and why. And I do think saying, and we have other rules about you aren't allowed to damage, you know, park facilities or equipment. So I think we're covered in other places for things like benches or the stands, because I certainly can understand that. You know, we don't want people denting the grandstands for the baseball fields or things like that. But I think that this is too restrictive, and I will not support item 17 as written currently. So I think that needs some revision, and I'm more than happy to provide some alternate phrasing that we can bring back next month on this particular item. For 23, the question I had here, and this is somewhat similar, and this is to Commissioner Antonelli, no climbing, hanging banners, or attaching signs to park trees under management. The hanging banners, attaching signs, you know, flyers kind of all make sense. For climbing, is it simply we're trying to avoid people damaging the trees?
Yes.
Because I'm just thinking, again, children are children. They climb stuff, you know. This I don't necessarily have an issue with, only because we also don't want people getting injured or damaging the trees.
Yeah, it's more in regards to tree damage and that kind of functionality, and as well as, you know, the area around those, if they were to fall, isn't a protected area either. But what we find a lot is people are trying to climb some of the smaller trees that we have. The large, big ones, the larger branches are relatively high because over the years we've been pruning them up as they grow, and so it's tough to get further up those. But on the smaller ones, the branches are a little bit lower, and what we're finding is trees that have limbs ripped off down the side, that now becomes a location for disease or insects or others to gain access to the tree, and allow the tree to deteriorate in a fashion that's, not expanding or keeping its life cycle in place.
Perfect. And again, I'm all for protecting the trees. So, I think that this makes sense, and I just wanted to clarify that was the rationale behind it. I'll note I have a kind of similar concern as I did to 17 to 25, which is skateboards, roller skates, roller skis, coasting vehicles, electric or non-electric or similar devices is prohibited in parks except in designated areas. Again, I think that this probably needs to be worded differently, because I can anticipate issues where people are going to say, well, the rule doesn't allow it, but it's in a space we would expect people to be doing something like this. So I think we need to look at both of those items, and perhaps there's a way to even combine those. So I think that that will also need revision.
I think with facilities, if you add, facilities is more or less what I mean, to where, I don't know, somebody's doing something on a facility that's not appropriate, or facilities and equipment. That way it covers like the benches and those types of things where it can become, gosh, what is it called? Where it damages.
I'm just thinking, I think this can become overly restrictive still. So a good example, let's just say some of the fenced off, tennis courts like the one over at Institute Park. If no one's sitting there playing tennis, I can't say I'd be particularly surprised if I saw people with young children, trying to learn how to ride a bike in there. I can't say I'd be surprised about that. Again, we want to try and avoid damage to facilities, but I know a lot of people who've taught their kids how to ride their bikes inside, the fenced off areas where they're either basketball or tennis courts. And the reason is because it provides a nice, smooth, flat surface for them to learn on. And by it being fenced off, they don't have to worry about them accidentally sort of riding off into traffic or something else. So I think, again, we need to revisit some of these because I think the way they're phrased currently is overly restrictive. The other one that I wanted to comment on, and forgive me for a second as I scroll down on this, was I think, again, it's just more, maybe it's just a wording, and I have to look at the illegal dumping and public trash receptacles. The way I'm reading it now, it says, no person shall deposit any litter, garbage, trash, or waste of any other kind in a public trash receptacle. Like, I read that as that's the whole purpose of a public trash receptacle is to deposit litter or garbage or trash or waste. So I think, again, perhaps the wording of it needs to be cleaned up. I think that my guess is the intention is that you don't want people bringing waste from their houses and dumping them, filling the trash receptacle immediately, like throwing in a 50-gallon trash bag. And that's sort of how I'm assuming is what you mean by this to the commissioner. But I think the way it's written right now, that is not clear, and it seems a little confusing.
So, to the commissioner, I think what we'd look to do is we'll re-look at the ordinance. This is not sort of our language. It was designed to be part of the ordinance. And so we'll re-look at the ordinance and maybe look at the wording that the ordinance states to maybe better identify that. But we'll take a look at that.
Thank you. And yeah, that one, like I said, I think it's just partially the way I was reading it. It was not quite making sense to me. Otherwise, I think, a lot of these rules made sense. I did have a question regarding the closing hours for Bancroft Tower. Is that, that's shortening the hours that Bancroft Tower, is open? Is that correct?
It is not. It's been 8 o'clock for 5 years or so now.
Okay, is it just adding it to that section for closing
Yeah,
hours?
we're just
to 8 to
adding
5?
it in there, yes.
Okay, I was just trying to understand what the revision was to that. But otherwise, I think, like I said, I think there's a couple that I think need some revision and reworking, and I'll provide some feedback following the meeting as to possible revisions for those.
Okay.
Through the chair to the commissioner, I just want to make some minor comments. Isn't number 6 sort of redundant of the red sentence at the end of number 1? All reservations for the pavilions at Green Hill Park must have a permit for 15 or more.
So this is in relation to all of the other pavilions that we have, not just Green Hill Park? So there's a pavilion in Green Hill Park, but we have others in other parks.
I misunderstood what you said earlier.
But there may be a way to combine those. We'll make a note and look what we can do to combine those, maybe to make it clearer.
As for number 23 and 24, I think the wording is just a little off. It's like double negative. No climbing is prohibited. No drying laundry is prohibited. So I just recommend a change in the verbiage there. And I believe new number 29 is also fairly redundant of number 20. So it's just my critiques. That's it.
And going back to 23, 24, what's the recommendation there?
Get rid of the word no.
Yeah, I would say either get rid of the word
No,
no
or
or
prohibit.
prohibited.
Is prohibited appears at the end of 23, 24, and 25, and it looks like it was just kind of accidentally attached there.
Got it. Okay.
And sorry, one additional thing I'm just thinking about, I just thought about this with that 23, the climbing, hanging banners or attaching signs to park trees. I can think of a few instances where I've seen people attaching slack lines, if you're familiar with, to like, between two trees or hammocks in the parks at like either events or just, during the summer, people are hanging out doing stuff. I'm assuming this would apply to things like that as well. And that may be that we need to specify that also. If you're looking for people not to attach things to the trees, but if those are allowed, then I think that's, if you think that's okay for like a slack line or, someone's attaching a hammock, but not like nailing anything on, just, wrapping a rope around. If those are allowed, that's fine. But I'm just thinking that there may be some additional clarification needed for that if you want to avoid people attaching anything at all to trees.
Okay.
I have one. Did you, go ahead.
Just two comments. I think on the trash receptacles, it definitely makes sense to refer to the actual ordinance. I feel like I've seen signs that say no household or commercial litter, garbage, trash, et cetera, so maybe that's missing words. And, I'm just curious, the biking, rollerblading, skating, whatever it is, it's really tough to think about every park and every possible surface, but is the concern for some of the parks that have, I'm thinking of Elm Park, where it's kind of like just a packed earth surface, it's not actual paved, are you worried about bicycles tearing those up, or it's really tough to,
Yeah, so-
cover every surface?
It's geared more along the lines of that interaction with pedestrians, right? So whether it's a sidewalk or vehicles like in a parking lot or something along those lines, that's more geared towards it. Like in some places, we've identified areas for small kids to be able to bike. Betty Price is a good example. There's a small little loop there that we technically designed it to be able to be wide enough for like small bikes and people to be able to walk with their children to teach them, because there's no other place there, because that entire place is a hill, right? Everything from one side to the other is a hill going down towards 290. So it's more along the lines of the safety component of interaction between pedestrian vehicles and those bike riders, skateboarders, that kind of stuff. Skateboarding becomes a little bit more of a problem because of the vandalism and the damage that they do cause in some cases when they're grinding up against a piece of granite, or they're trying to use our park benches for as a ramp or that kind of stuff. So that's a little bit different on that end of it. So it's more about public safety than much else.
And if I can respond to that, I can certainly appreciate the concerns regarding safety, but with regards to that, I think again we run a serious risk here of being overly restrictive. Generally speaking, bicycles are supposed to yield to pedestrians. That is the rules of the road, so to speak. So I think that again here. I have serious concerns with this being overly restrictive and preventing people from being able to enjoy open spaces to bike. And especially we saw during COVID, bikes were in high demand. There are a lot of people who started taking up cycling. I think this can be worded or phrased in a better way to still allow people to enjoy various forms of exercise and transportation, so to speak, in the parks without being overly restrictive. So I would probably say from my position, I'm inclined to make a motion to make revisions to these rules and bring them back to us at our December meeting for review and approval at that time.
Eric, I was just thinking in regards to the bikes and rollerblading and stuff, I was thinking more or less if the revision were to say something along the lines of where signage is posted. That way, it only restricts it in those areas where signage is posted, and it doesn't restrict the entire park or all of them.
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm going with, is that I think we need to, if we want to say, hey, specifically, we don't want bikes in this particular area, I would make the argument that, obviously there should be a reasonable rationale for why, not just simply, oh, we just don't want it. Because again, we don't have facilities for every single activity people want. So we're going to have to, share. But I think at the same time, I think that we definitely want to be thoughtful about our language here. So, I would probably say, I'm happy to provide some feedback, and I've done volunteer work with Mass Bike, Boston Cyclist Union. I know they are very aware of some language that's been used in Boston, Brookline, and other towns in cities in the state to specifically kind of address these concerns. So I'm happy to sort of bring some of that language back for our meeting in December.
For sure.
I say, only because we're 45 minutes into this one, we do have a lot of items left on the agenda. I'd like to make a motion that Rob makes the recommended adjustments to these rules and bring them back to the December meeting for a vote.
Just 20.
I would second that.
Well,
Sorry, Natalie, go ahead.
the revision, there was one revision, 21, the timeframe. It should not be that the parks are open after the noise ordinance goes into effect at 9 o'clock. That's problematic, hugely problematic, that the parks are open, and it should not be that the parks should be open past 9 o'clock.
I had, to the chair, that's gonna come up, it's gonna come down later on in the agenda, I think, on part of what you brought for new
Is it?
business. Yeah,
Is
did
it?
you ask for a couple items to come up on new business? Only because I'd rather discuss it there, given the hours of the park and noise ordinances, because
Okay, that's
I
fine.
understand where you're coming from, but I'm also a true believer in that some of the parks should be open a little bit later, given what their use is for. But,
Not next to homes.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I like to make my motion on this here to have Rob and the staff revise these rules, bring it back to us to the December meeting, so we can vote on them then.
Second.
I'll second that.
Wow, y'all were fast.
To the three people in section that,
Give it to Serato.
okay. Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Chacharoni,
Yes.
Commissioner Doherty, oh, he's not there. Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro,
Yes.
Madam Chair, the second item on my agenda is just the award of the $425,000 for South Worcester Playground for the renovation to include basketball court and handball court. So I know we'll talk about this a little bit later below here, based on an item from Commissioner Darby, who sent in a request. So my recommendation is to file this, and we will discuss it as we get a little bit further. I can give you a little more detail.
I'll make a motion to file item 6B.
Second.
I'll second.
Commissioner
too slow.
Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Chacharoni,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro,
Yes.
Next, we have old business.
Through the chair, both of these items are still working their way through the city side. So there is no update on those, but we did request them put those in old business. My recommendation is to take A and B, do them as one group, and leave them in old business.
I'll make a motion to place 7A and B in old business.
Second.
Commissioner
Yes.
Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Chacheroni,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner. Yes. Commissioner Samaro.
Yes.
Your new business.
Okay. New business. Agenda items must be submitted 3 business days prior to each commission meeting with the subject line, agenda item, to parks@worcesterma.gov and reply satisfactorily to any required follow-up requests sent by the Parks and Recreation Commission. The individual, organization, or group who has placed an item on the agenda may speak for no more than 5 minutes in total on the item they have submitted. First item is a request of District 4 City Councilor Louis Ojeda Sr., the Worcester City Council, Mayor Joseph M. Petty, and the Green Island Residents Group to begin the naming process of the building located in Crompton Park in honor of Lorraine M. Laurie.
Madam Chair, all we're looking for tonight is approval from the commission to move forward with the process, and then they'll come back with any comments or anything at the 18th meeting for final approval or final decision by the commission to either name or not name. So what we're looking for is just approval to begin the process.
I'll make a motion on item 8A for approval for the naming process.
I'll second it. Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Chacheroni,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro.
Yes. Next item is a request of the Festival of Lights program to serve alcohol on the Worcester Common for the annual event on Friday, December 5th, 2025.
Madam Chair, we are recommending approval. We've done this before. We've done this the last bunch of years. There have been no issues, no problems. It's a great event. All of you are welcome to attend on Friday, the 5th of December, where we light up Worcester Common with music and other types of events. So we would like approval on that, and please attend.
And Ricky Duran will be performing.
Anybody have questions? 'Cause I motion to,
I was just going to say it's a great event.
I motion to, accept this as written.
Second.
Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Chacheroni,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro.
Yes.
Thank you, Meg. She's from the group, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. It was easier.
The next item is a request of the Worcester Renegades Youth Street Hockey for approval to submit for a CPA program grant for improvements to Beaverbrook Park. That's you.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello. You can stand up. It'll still catch your
It'll still
voice.
catch, all right. All right, we'll do this. My name's Jeremy Fallbeck. I'm the Vice President of the Worcester Renegades Youth Street Hockey. I'm here to request written permission from the city to apply for the CPA, Community Preservation Act grant. We're hoping to obtain the grant to achieve 3 major goals: rebuilding and resurfacing the current hockey rink, replacing the bleachers in the seating area, and updating the current playground. For 4 decades, Beaverbrook Park has been home to ball hockey in the city. Thousands of the city's youth have called the park home. Worcester Renegades are proud to continue this tradition I've had the privilege of playing or coaching at that park for over a third of my life. Ice hockey is an incredibly expensive sport, one that many families simply cannot afford, but many children still develop a passion for the game. The Renegades' mission from its inception has been to grow the sport by providing a fun, affordable environment for Worcester families that might otherwise not consider hockey an option. I've been lucky enough to watch children grow in the sport. Children that couldn't afford traditional ice hockey, only playing for the Renegades through their youth, and managing to transition to play high school hockey for the Worcester Wildcats. Children that stopped playing, fell into bad crowds, did bad things, came back because the Renegades, the hockey provided them. They're centered. The hockey rink at Beaver Brook is a landmark in the city, but it's remained structurally untouched for around 20 years. We've rebuilt and repaired as much as we can over the years, but the cost we would need to charge to complete this project without help would make the game unaffordable for the exact same families we're here to help. The structure of the rink itself, combined with the hard, uneven playing surface, prevents the city from hosting players and teams from neighboring communities. We've built relationships with programs from other towns. We hosted a tournament last summer in Fitchburg because our own facility was not acceptable. These improvements would allow the city to host events, which in turn could boost business in the neighborhood. There's nothing structurally wrong with the bleachers currently. However, they are level with the ground, and the game is played behind a 4-foot-tall wall. Means that family members with disabilities and mobility issues are unable to view the game. It's heartbreaking to see family members sitting in lawn chairs unable to watch their loved ones play a sport because they're unable to stand. Raising the bleachers and providing a ramp would truly mean the world. The playground at Beaver Brook provides joy to so many families, not just the ones who are at the park for hockey or football. The playground is terribly difficult to access. It's becoming worn. A level pathway and an accessible playground would allow children of all abilities to enjoy the space. Beaver Brook is the ideal space in the city to create a sensory-friendly playground. It's located in a heavily populated neighborhood, but it is quiet and away from the main road. The park means so much to myself and many city residents. The project ensures that this continues to provide a safe haven for a new generation. Thank you very much for hearing me this evening and look forward to this project.
One thing through the chair. Nicely done, thank you. Two things. One, they're looking for us for approval to allow them to go to the CPA to do these repairs later.
It's just a letter.
Yeah, no, I just want to, The other question, is there a master plan for that
That was
parking
my
lot already, not the parking lot, the playground already there in place, or?
So the playground has been there, and if we were to do anything with the playground, it would be an in-kind replacement in its
Okay.
same location. So there's no need for anything additional on that side of it. The problem that I see with everything that's here, and it's not that it can't be overcome, it's just there's some work here, is the playground may throw this thing completely out of budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And so, at least in our world, the goal really is more so to focus in on the rink and the amenities in regards to the rink. And the playground is, all of a sudden, if we think there's extra money someplace, or, whatever the estimate comes in at, maybe we can do something. But an average playground in our world is $400,000 to $500,000 at a minimum. So there's a lot there that, I don't want to take all this money up on just that, whereas really focus in on the rink and the amenities of the hockey rink itself. So, but what I would recommend is approval with final details to be worked out with the administration, and then would give me the ability to write the letter and support the application.
So are you gonna help them, you help them write the grant, or do they write the grant and you kinda?
So they're gonna write the grant,
Okay.
they're gonna submit everything, we'll work with them on that. Depending on what they're doing, there may be other issues, there may be environmental related issues with Concom or whatever else, because we are within a floodplain. We do have
You're on the
an
book,
area
aren't you?
there that's, because you're within that waterway that's there. So there's some things along those lines that we're gonna have to work through. But, yeah, we'll work with them on that, but it's more of just trying to make sure we're doing this, the right way.
Yeah, the good news is with the like the rink, everything's staying exactly where it is.
Right.
The only thing that would move anything out would be if we can expand the bleachers.
Right.
So I have a few different things. So thank you, Mr. Fallback, because I didn't even notice it was in that much of a disrepair. I literally live right there.
Yeah.
Okay, I am the one always complaining about things that go on over there, and it's kind of one of those things where it's set, you don't really pay too much mind to it, because it's
Right.
behind the football field. But I just want to say thank you to you and your league, because being a lifelong resident there, I do see the joy that you guys bring, and I see the kids playing happy, the music going, and you guys are always so cheerful. I even see you guys picking up the football league's trash, which blows my mind.
They're all a family, everyone helps out. I'm sure they do the same for us.
But like I said, I do have a question through the chair to the administration. Is there a master plan for Beaver Brook? And I understand that rink isn't accessible. Even if there was a child that wanted to play, it's not the best accessibility. And I've seen people pushing kids in wheelchairs, and I've seen adults in wheelchairs getting pushed over there to that place. And I'm like, damn, that really isn't, accessible at all.
We did meet with a company to go over replacing everything, and that was one of the things we're putting in they want to put in a double door and keep everything level with the ground so that it would be more accessible.
And overall, is there a master plan? Is there a master plan to redo the park itself at all? And is there one being thought of? Where is it in that realm of things? Because overall, that playground does need to be done. It has been there at least. When was Beaver Brook last done? The 2012?
07.
07. Gee.
The playground it's hard to get to, obviously in a
It is hard to
wheelchair,
get
you
to.
couldn't, but, it's.
It's hard to get to for elderly that have,
That's what
children.
we run it, yeah.
So I do think that it is something that kind of pulls at me that playground does need to be redone as well. I do understand the budgetary issues and the cost of it. And through the chair to Commissioner Stratton, what is the maximum for a project like this? Or can this be looked at as two separate projects?
So you're stealing my thunder here, but that's all right. So what I was going to recommend is that when you submit this to there isn't a cap necessarily, but the Community Preservation Committee is very mindful about, there's only so much money each funding cycle to go around.
Right.
If I recall correctly, for this coming funding cycle, I think we've allocated $5 million to be split up between, all of the requests that come in. Our first funding cycle, we had 32 projects, and I think we funded 18, if I'm recalling correctly. So that we are mindful about that. One thing that helps a lot when we're looking at these projects is if you are able to break them out, it may be that, when you come and present to CPC, that we say, hey, we'd love to fund your project, but we may not be able to do it all in a single funding cycle. Perhaps, which one would you prefer to, which one is, your higher priority, if you had to prioritize them. So it may be ideal to break them out in such a way, because even if it isn't able to get done in a single funding cycle, it may be something you could come back the following funding cycle and say, hey, now we'd like to do the second part of this particular project. Okay. So I certainly would encourage you, it can't hurt to apply for both. It is helpful when you have sort of plans that are flexible enough that if you aren't able to get the full funding amount, that you're able to work with it and find a way to still accomplish some of your projects. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And if you have more questions about that, you are more than happy, I'm more than happy to discuss, or you can reach out to me or to the staff member assigned to the CPC, and we can provide some more input.
He's our representative on the CPC,
What's his name?
Eric Stratton. I'll give you his information later.
Commissioner
Yep.
Stratton?
Please,
Commissioner
Natalie,
Stratton,
thank you.
is that application due December 3rd?
When is-
Or when is it due, do you know?
I think I'm pulling it up right now to check.
Second?
Something like that. Yeah.
That it is coming up soon.
I didn't even realize they opened it. The last I looked was early October, and it hadn't been opened yet.
Just like a week ago.
The other thing is the master plan for Beaverbrook. Is there a master plan? Is it something that will come up? Because overall, there's a serious flooding issue there.
So there is no master plan. We're not looking at this point in time to engage in a new master plan. When we built the facility in 2007, it was designed to flood, particularly that open field area was designed to flood. And so anything we would do there would be more in line with a renovation in kind. So we're not going to make any major changes to it. We're going to take the playground out. We may adjust it a little bit on its location and we'll put it in place. Or, the work that we'll do there is basic to what's already there. So there's nothing on that end of it that would really gear us to redo a master plan for that site. But again, on the flooding piece, it is designed to flood. So when we built that particular facility, if you remember, it was a corrugated top where the water stayed within that facility and just rushed down. And what was happening is further down Mayfield, Man Street into Mayfield Street, going down that way, is where the flooding occurred. That's where we were getting a lot of the flooding, because it was coming out of the manholes, it was flooding that area. So in the design, in the long-term management plan for what we were trying to do, we designed it so that when you come out near the parking lot of the where the Ted Williams Little League there is, where the Yardway site is across from Foley, when you hit that, it comes out and it flares out and it opens up. And then as you get towards the building, we put in a box culvert there. So it's a concrete culvert, right, that limits the amount of water that can push through it. Because what that does is it limits the amount of water that's getting further downstream that could cause flooding downstream. Does it solve all of it? No. But what it does is it pushes the water back and then pushes the water into the park. If you look, the football field, the softball field, the other softball field, they're all raised. They're a little bit higher, but that grass area is lower. And so the water comes up, fills that up, and then when the water recedes, it goes back down, back into there, and alleviates itself down through. So it was actually designed to do exactly what it's been doing. Now, it does impact the Ted Williams Little League field a little bit in that right field corner.
Does it?
It affects that a little bit, but the problem is that we can't do a lot of changes to the facility because we're under requirements for flooding, for floodplain, for all of these other environmental components. So we can't physically raise things there, because if we raise something, we gotta lower something someplace else, because we can't take away from the amount of area that we've identified for flooding purposes.
Got it.
And to comment on the dates, just because that was asked, so I'll note December 3rd is the last day to submit a pre-application form at 11 a.m. We broke the application into sort of two portions this year, where the first part is really focused more on, is this allowable under the law, to essentially under the sort of rules and regulations for the CPA, what can we or can't we fund, because there are limits on what we can and can't do. That's due at 11 a.m. It's sort of a much briefer application, but then you would have until January 7th to submit the full application. And if you look on the city's website, or otherwise, if you reach out to me, Natalie, feel free to share my email. I'm happy to point you in the direction of the city's webpage and where the application and the information for those are listed.
With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve Worcester Renegades Youth Street Hockey Program to move forward with their submittal to the CPA program for a grant.
Second.
Can I just add an amendment to
Please.
that, a caveat that it's broken down into two separate,
Well, that would be,
separate letters?
that's how they wanted to, yeah, okay, that's,
Like one for the hockey field and then one for the. Yes.
I'd advise against that, Natalie, only because then they would potentially have to have two separate applications in. They could do this as a single application for the funding and just break
okay.
it down between project 1, project 2.
Okay, all right,
Make it a-
then,
make
then that's
line
fine.
items.
So
I have no, you can scratch that, Millie.
should I say it again?
Yeah, and then add in there, with all details worked out with the administration.
I would like to make a motion for to approve the Worcester Renegades Youth Street Hockey Programs, approval to submit to the CPA program, with recommendations worked out with the Parks Department upon approvals.
Second.
Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Cacharoni,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro,
Yes.
We should probably talk, like, tomorrow or next week.
The next item is a request of Commissioner Stratton to have a status report on the William A. Richardson Park Fund.
So through the chair, came up at the last meeting. So I met with the trust committee last week, and that trust fund has a current balance as of 6/30/25 of $446,000 in change. Earnings on that amount is about $300,000. Well, it is $300,000 in change. The city parks, on the park side, has not used that funding source at least since 2004. We may have used it prior to that, but I don't have any records that we had used it for that purpose. I did ask the commission, or the trust committee and the CFO to let me know if there's any documentation that it's been used, between 2004 and my initial coming to the city of Worcester, and they'll get back to me on that. But we know for a fact that since about 2016, there has been no funding allocated out of that to at least public parks or any other entity. So that's the current update. Once I get another update from the CFO, I'll bring that forward. But my recommendation would be is to file this item.
So one question to the commissioner, I guess, for clarification, I think one of the other items I was curious about is, who is permitted to, I guess, spend the funds in that trust? Does that fall to the parks that we can basically allocate that money out, or would it be city council has to allocate it from that fund? I'm just want to understand who controls the purse strings, so to speak, for that particular account, and what those funds can be used for.
So the purpose of it is for care, layout, development, improvement, and beautifying of public parks. That's the purpose. And the trust committee is delegated with the approval for the distribution, with the council being the final decision maker, as with all other funding components of the city of Worcester.
So in theory, if we had a project that we said, hey, we don't currently have funding for, but we'd like to pursue this, could we say we'd like to, petition them to approve expenditure of those funds? Or whatever it may be, project X?
Yeah, so that would come from the administration in looking at our capital project outlays. What's out there, what we can do, what we can't do, and how it best fits into our capital improvement program, and we would make those determinations. So I've talked to the trust committee, advised them that, we'll look into the use of that fund for some of our future development projects or renovation projects, and we'll sort of figure that out based on the total breadth of what we have for park improvements, to identify maybe things that sort of fit that or make it highly competitive when you're looking at how you're going to use those funds. So we're going to look at it in a holistic version with all of our other capital improvement programs.
That sounds great. I want to make sure that we're getting, I know we have a long list of projects that I'd love for us to be able to get to. So the more funds we can get you to do those projects, the better. So unless anyone else has other comments on this, I'll make a motion to file.
I just wanted to clarify and know, is it 446 in total, or is it 746 in total? And 446 is the starting balance that needs to stay in there.
So it's 446 is the principal balance, and then it's 300,000 in earnings. So it's the 300,000 that's available.
Okay.
You don't touch the principal. The principal stays.
Okay. All right. Thought so. Okay.
So I guess, Rob, just to clarify, do you want a motion to file this and you'll just bring us an update, or is it something you want us to move it to old business and we'll get an update regarding anyone else who spent it?
So I would recommend filing it, and then once I get an update, I'll bring that forward. And then as we go into our budgeting component for this coming year, I can give an update at that point as well, or the commission at that point can ask the question about, well, are you looking to file for that grant? So I would just file it for now. I have it in the back of my head that once I get something, I'll bring it back to the commission.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Then I'll make a motion to file.
Second.
Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Charteroni,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yep.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro,
Yes. The next item is a request of Commissioner Darty to discuss expectations on the $425,000 grant for the South Worcester Playground renovation Phase 3, specifically the timing for when improvements are expected or anticipated to begin, after bids, etc., and the total estimated amount that is required for all improvements to this park. Is there a Phase 4 and 5, etc.?
So through the chair, the schedule for this project will be bid in January, award in February. Construction will start on July 1 of 2026, with completion sometime in May of 2027, with official opening probably towards July of 2027. So it's about a year construction program. It will include the handball court, and it will include the basketball court, some other miscellaneous things in and around there, benches and that kind of stuff, and some playground safety servicing renovations as well as part of the job. We anticipate that the cost is going to be somewhere in the $1.3, $1.5 million range as of our last estimate, which was about in July when I put the application in for the grant. So we'll see what that works out to be. There are future phases over at South Worcester. So there's a phase that includes the baseball field that's there, and there's a phase that includes some minor renovations to the Little League field that's there.
Through the chair. So you're hoping to get another $800,000 from budget for next year? Do you already have that budgeted?
So we're going to be looking actually probably close to $1 million on the city side. for this project. And because we're anticipating that we're probably going to be after contingency and we need contingency and everything else. We're probably thinking it's a $1.4, $1.5 million project to get this all done. So we'll be looking for that as part of our capital outlay for fiscal year 27, which begins on July 1.
So worst case scenario, you go in with $400,000. I'm just going worst case scenario, it doesn't get allocated from the city. You have $400,000 to do something.
They already approved it.
So
they already
no,
approved
so we have to at least commit
Okay,
so we need to commit at least, I'll explain this. So we're called a 70% community. So that means that we have to commit at least 30% of $425,000, right? So that's the math for it. The problem is that you don't get much for $600,000 in our world. And so we've already committed that this is good, that we know that this is going to be a much larger project, and I'd already anticipated that in our grant round, in our capital budget last year. So we have the authorization. It's just going to get moved to borrowing on July 1 of this year, of 2026, for allocation. If we don't get that full amount, that project does not move. And so that's what happened the last time. So the last time we had allocated $800,000 for the renovation of the two courts. It was ARPA money. So that was all just cash. But we didn't have, the bid came in at $1.1 million. We couldn't make up that gap because of all of the other things that we had going on at the time. And so we placed it on hold and we looked for another avenue to use to be able to fund it. So we're funding it, $425 grant, and then the rest of it. So rest of it as a city application, city money. My recommendation would be to file this item.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to file this item.
Second.
Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Charteroni,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro,
Yes. The next item is a request of Commissioner Turner to reduce the playing seasons at Beaverbrook Park to November 30th of each year, as well as to reduce evening use of the field to an earlier time during the week.
Just before we get to that item, can I make a motion to extend the meeting, 30 minutes?
Well, we still have 40 minutes
I
left.
have 40 minutes left.
Oh, do
It goes
we?
to 8:30.
I'm sorry. I was thinking it goes to 8 o'clock. Sorry. My brain is gone. I'm ready to go to bed. All right, so it's written a little wonky, but that wasn't specifically what I was meaning. It was the overall rules of all the parks. So hold on, let me just look at the item. So overall, I think that the season go until November 30th is a bit much. Once again, I speak as a resident in this capacity, that I am a taxpayer. I should not have to listen as a taxpayer to people at 10 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, in a park till 10 o'clock playing baseball. I understand that this has now become the norm and that even kids' leagues have started to go this late. But it's unfair, number one. Number two, there is an ordinance at 9 o'clock that the noise should stop. It has gotten out of control. I know that I'm not the only resident that lives near a park that feels that it hampers their quality of life. So that is what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm bringing before the board.
I guess,
Commission.
Rob and Millie, do leagues go past November 30th now?
So the only one that would go
October
past,
30th. October, it should have said October 30th.
yeah, the only one that goes past November 30th is maybe football, like the Vikings or
Okay.
Cowboys kind of thing. Most others are done by,
But Natalie-
mid-October.
But she meant to say October 30th is the issue. Okay, so that's,
Yeah, it should have
Okay.
been October 30th. I can understand it being something that if a league is, when they put in their permits, they're requesting to extend it to November 30th, December, whatever, that's fine, right? But I don't think it should be a regular thing to every single league has the right to be there until November 30th. They're already there all summer, all spring, right? And they're there those hours as well.
I think most leagues are gone well before, like, I think most leagues are done already last week, maybe the week before, when it comes to youth sports. I'm not, I speak for baseball, softball. I'm not sure if what lacrosse does, or maybe, like you said, football or soccer.
Soccer finished last week.
So they try to get done before Thanksgiving normally.
Normally, yes.
Okay, so I guess barring some sort of weather that, but even in the fall, they don't usually try to make up lost weekends. If you lose a weekend because of the rain, they don't try to make it up on the back end. It's kind of, hey, it's New England, we lost a weekend, let's move on with our lives. Nobody wants to play past, Thanksgiving anyways. I don't want to belittle, I don't want to say October, I mean, I don't agree with the October 30th date. I was shocked when, I thought people were playing past November 30th. I was all on board with you at that point. But I don't think they are playing past November 30th, except for the one-off football that might have a playoff at that point, or
That's-
something along those lines.
That's different, like,
I know you're trying to get,
it,
we can't make a
It
blanket statement, that's the
becomes-
problem.
it hampers people's livelihoods.
But I don't think the time of the year is the issue at this point. That's what I'm trying,
I think it's the time of the year and it's the hours. It's both. Because this is going on from April all the way till November 30th. That's a long time. And it's constant. From places that hold multiple leagues like Beaverbrook does. And I know Beaverbrook is not, Beaverbrook's the only example I have, but I know Beaverbrook is not the only place where there's multiple leagues like this. And I know for a fact that there's other people in the city that feel the same way. There's other people that live near parks that feel the same way. And it's something that they don't know how to go about it. And I'm just trying to be that voice of reason. I'm one person here, but it's not just me. You know what I mean? And it's not just my neighborhood. It's something it's to protect all residents. You know what I'm saying? So it can't be just for one park. Because we're not here to represent just one park. We're here to represent the city and the parks. So that's how I feel.
So, through the chair, the difficulty here is, and it reflects back into when we were discussing rules and regulations about limiting access, right, to a park, and limiting use of a park in a particular way. This would be no different than limiting skateboarding and bike riding and all that. So we need to be careful. I'm not saying that you don't do it, but you got to be careful on how you're doing this if you decide to do something. Personally, on our end of it, it's difficult enough to try to get enough time out there for everybody that we need, and I wouldn't recommend it, but I understand the commissioner's side of it as well. My understanding was at our last meeting, we had this discussion about parks and noise and all of that, right? And I thought that the discussion was that we were going to refocus into and onto the leagues and organizations to only have a certain threshold that we were going to accept, and then we were going to bring them back to this commission for review and go through that process. That was my understanding, and that was sort of the way that I was sort of gearing up for the presentation that we're going to be giving in the spring and all of those kinds of things. Now, I understand that there are individuals that have had multiple years or multiple years with issues. But at the same time, that was the direction I thought we were going, and then, then these came in, and I understand that. But we got to be careful of what we're going to do here, because where does that end, right? So now all of a sudden, we have somebody who lives next to a park and doesn't mind what's going on, and then we have somebody that buys the house and moves in next to the park, and now doesn't want the Little League there at X time, or doesn't want that youth football team there because they're yelling and screaming or playing their game or whatever that is. So it's a delicate balance to, as we go through and discuss this, to make those decisions on how we want to move forward. Again, I'll reiterate what I said last meeting. My recommendation to the commission is that we go through this process with the leagues, right? I've already talked to Jeff about adding pieces into the presentation. We're actually going to do a presentation on locking a facility, because that's become a very difficult thing for people to understand and accomplish. But that's another piece. But another component of noise and about being respectful and going down that road, and then having a component to that brings them back here, which this commission needs to make a decision on as well, of what that break point is. Is it one time? Is it 2 times? Like, what is the break point for this commission to say we want these people back in here to have this discussion in a public forum? But again, my recommendation would be to continue going down the road that I thought we were going, which was education this coming spring, enforcement this coming spring, and then whatever the commission deems appropriate for, you've done this once, twice, 3 times, whatever that is, to bring them back into this commission for another review and possible revocation of their permit. That would be the angle I would recommend and take, but part of it is a commission decision.
If nobody else has anything to add to these, I guess, and if Commissioner Turner doesn't get offended, I will.
I'm highly offended. I'd like to file both these motions.
I second.
How's that? That works. That was rapid timing.
So, question. Is this for, we're
Both.
going to identify this for both F and G.
F
F
and
and
G.
G.
And what we're going to do is we're going to continue this on an educational component up front in our presentations. The commission still needs to come up with what their criteria is. So we should decide that now, because we should put that into the last version of the rules and regulations for review, right? But we can first, it's all included in here. So my recommendation to you is 2 times. So they become a problem twice within a 2-week period.
Most leagues play once a week. Is that safe to say?
No.
Most
No.
no. Most leagues that give us say an issue, not like a little. the adult softball leagues, do they have, is it just like every Saturday they play, or is it are they Monday, Wednesday,
Saturday, it could, and it's during the week at night.
But different leagues or the same league?
Depends.
Okay.
Sometimes it's different, sometimes it's the same. It depends on the site and
The only reason
everything
that I
else.
ask that is if they're there 5 days a week, I'm not giving them once every, I'm not giving them that much
Leeway.
rope to hang themselves. I want to shorten it. That's all I'm saying, I guess.
So how about we do this? How about we say that it's 2 times for within a 5-day period of their event or
Something
whatever.
like that, okay.
Something like that. Like, so if they're scheduled for every Saturday, right? It's only Saturday, then Saturday they mess up, Saturday they mess up, we're done, you gotta go to the commission.
Yes.
If they're on a Monday night and a Saturday and they mess up Monday night and Saturday, they're done, they gotta go to the commission.
What about 2 times in a month? Is that a better, or is that too much leeway?
Well, I mean, as soon as it hits 2 times.
They're coming in.
They're coming in. So you can do it either way. Like 2 times a month is fine. I was being much more restrictive on it, but if you're comfortable, the commission is comfortable with 2 times a month, I'm okay with that. Because it gives a longer rope to be able to,
I think we start out giving them more leeway instead of fully restricting them and then
Okay.
letting up. I think because, first of all, they're adults, and even adults running children's leagues, I think that they should, at least have that freedom. Like, we shouldn't treat them like children right away, but eventually. I think giving them that freedom right away, and then put subject to change.
okay. Well, subject to change means that the commission needs to re-vote on it.
Right, we gotta-
Right? And that's fine. We can do that midstream if
Put
we
it
need
this
to.
way, why don't we put subject to administration's discretion?
Yeah, I don't want to go down that road.
I'd rather.
I'd rather do.
Dumping on you?
I'd rather do 1 month, and if
happy?
we decide that there still is a problem, then you just make the decision, and then we send it out to everybody and say, hey, this has changed.
Okay,
Are you happy with 2 times a month?
there you go.
Are you happy, Natalie?
I'm
All right.
excited.
So here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say that we're gonna file these 2 items with the caveat that we're gonna continue education during the meetings in the spring, and we're gonna implement a two issue, I don't know, what's the wording, what wording do I want?
Violations.
2
Two
notices?
violations within 1 month. And they will have to come to the commission. Now, this is gonna be for everybody. This is not just this is across the board. This is everybody that's using our facilities.
Yeah.
It should be across the board. I don't think
Okay.
it should be just one place. I don't think it should be just one type of league. I think it should be everybody.
Okay.
That's why Mr. Killebrew's here. That's part of the reason why Mr. Killebrew is here, is because he wants to see these types of things happen on a level playing field for everybody. And so there's no problem with that across the board,
Okay.
I believe. I just really think that, please, can the people that you send your notices out to, please let them know that the rules are changing that are going to affect their upcoming year's permits, and have them here at the December meeting.
Well, they have to come.
Well-
No, and let them know that if they have any issues with these rules, that they need to come to the December meeting and speak about them. Because their input is just as important as
So we'll do that as a separate item, okay? Let's finish these 2, right? So we're gonna file and that we're gonna educate during the season, and we're gonna do a 1 month, 2 violation issue item where you're gonna have to come to the commission after 2 violations within 1 month.
2 separate motions here.
You're gonna do 2 separate motions?
Is that what you want, or you want all in
Yes.
one?
All right, we'll do 2. We'll file first. No, let's do this. Let's not file first. The motion is to
Continue with education.
continue with the education during the presentation time in the spring. Got that, Millie? And then secondarily, that in the rules and regulations, we are identifying 2 violations within a 1-month period will require the league or organization to come to the commission for a review.
Are we talking specifically about noise violations or any?
We're talking about
Any
anything. We're
violations.
talking about alcohol, we're
Sell food,
talking
alcohol.
about
Anything.
noise, we're talking about
Anything.
inappropriate activity, we're talking about anything.
That'll give us more leeway then, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay?
Anything.
Sound good? Mm-hmm. So I need a motion.
Can I make a motion to what Rob just stated?
Sure, Natalie's gonna second.
There you go. Next.
Hold on.
No, we gotta do it,
Bartholomew.
roll.
Yes.
Commissioner Charteroni?
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato?
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro?
Yes.
Now we're gonna file.
Yes.
I motion to file.
Second.
F and G.
Commissioner Bartholomew?
Yes.
Commissioner Charteroni?
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato?
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro?
Yes.
What do we have? One more item?
So the next item is a request of Commissioner Darty to allow Jeffrey Killebrew to speak to the commission regarding vending items included in the attached email.
Good evening, Parks Commission. All right, a couple things I just want to notice is the new agenda looks great. A lot of improvements from last year, last time I've been here, so I want to acknowledge that.
Administration.
Yes. The other thing is, when I received my confirmation, I didn't see it actually until today, but it came 2 days ago. It just didn't have the time by email, and it'd be great if you could send along the agenda by email to people who are confirmed to be on the agenda. Appreciate, But other than that, I want to say thank you again for your support and working with me last year on drafting these initial recommendations for changes to the park vending and performing process. Want to begin by providing an update on our progress, partnerships, and why these requests are even more important today than they were when they were first submitted. We're excited to share that we have now formalized our collaboration with the Worcester Public Schools Superintendent's Office. This partnership is central to including youth ages 14 plus in the licensing and permitting process to operate as street vendors and performers. This will help young people learn entrepreneurship, gain work experience, and build creative micro businesses across the city. These youth will ultimately operate at designated jam spots, which are wayfinder performance and vending markers across the city, and an initiative that's directly tied to the Worcester Renaissance Project. I also wanted to sincerely thank the parks leadership, in particular Mr. Antonelli, for attending the joint meeting with the city department heads to strategize equitable approaches to homelessness. Your presence helped create a unified citywide conversation about safety, solutions, and dignity in our public spaces. This means a great deal to the community and to me personally. We're also proud to announce that we have signed a contract with the City of Worcester's Economic Development Department to serve as the general operator of Rockland Trust Plaza. This role is the practical application and test bed for the Worcester Renaissance Project, demonstrating what year-round vending, performance, youth entrepreneurship, and placemaking can look like in Worcester. We're honored to be collaborating with incredible community partners across the city, including the Worcester Public Library, Guitar Center, Discover Central Mass, and as I mentioned before, the Worcester Public Schools and Economic Development Department. These partnerships all support the work we are doing to activate public spaces, empower young entrepreneurs, and create safer and more vibrant parks and plazas. And again, I have to throw out the invitation to be a collaborator in the ways that these other partners have done, either whether it be through a contract, a MOU, or a letter of commitment. Your partnership would help align citywide efforts around youth entrepreneurship, safety, placemaking, and increased equitable access to public spaces. So with that, I wanted to get into the requests that we had that were submitted. By the way, I did send really quick a email that had some background information about the Worcester Renaissance Project, as we've been working on a documentary series with the Worcester Public Library. So we have a couple things coming up. I didn't have your email, so I didn't include you. Sorry about that, Mr. Charteroni or Mrs. Amara or Mr. Bartholomew, I didn't have you. But just a little while ago, I sent some information, background with documentaries and things like that.
So, Mr. Killeruth, so through the chair, if you would like to do that, send it to the Parks email account, and we can make sure we get it out to everybody too.
Okay, all right. So with that being said, let's get into the requests. The increase, number one request was to increase the number of vendors from 1 to 8. It was suggested 4 novelty merchandise service vendors, and then 4 concession food vendors.
On that first, didn't we already increase it last year?
Good question.
We did.
Yes, we did, Mr. Chairman.
So how many?
To 1 and 1. And under 1 novelty, one concession, and I think under each of those, you're allowed to have somebody under you as well. So we've already done some of, my point, a lot of this email is just a regurgitated email, I believe, that we did a lot, we've already addressed a lot of these. I wish we had taken some of these out, because we've gone through some of this in our December meeting with you.
Oh, no, but so if we got 1 and 1, that's what it was before I came in.
No, it's just 1.
So initially, when I suggested this reformation to the, we went into a bid process, and at that bid process is where we were introduced with having a novelty vendor and a concession vendor. So that was the first year that that I advocated for the change.
Yeah,
Was it? I thought it was either or.
So-
It wasn't both.
so the way it is now is that the way we bid it, we went out last year for it. It was not a bid, it was a lottery, number one. Number two is, the way we worked it was a single vendor for food, a single vendor for novelty, and then those vendors could bring in a second vendor. So if I sold hot dogs and Aaron sold pizza, I could bring Aaron in if I was the winner of that and bring her in as part of that. So it ended up being 2 vendors for food, 2 vendors for novelty. And so that's what we had done last year. We did not have any of our current vendors that won the lottery last year to ask to have a secondary vendor with them.
So we did increase it last year?
We did,
Okay.
yes.
But the setup around that is, for one, what that does is make somebody now have to micromanage somebody else. So whereas versus we have like a flat rate where there's no competition, for the spaces. As we mentioned in other cities, there's just one flat rate, no cap on the amount of vendors that you can have there. So that would eliminate even having to go through a bid process or that sort of thing. Again, if the concern is that there may be too many vendors at a park, ultimately somebody's going to lose out. Somebody's going to say, well, hey, it's not worth it for me to be there, and they're no longer going to show up. So having a bid process or this whole selection process at all, I think is too many hoops to jump through.
But at the same time, when we look at Fam Jam's application process for Rockwood Trust, right? There's a $25 application fee, and it's only Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday from 12 to noon. Runs from March 28th to October 31st. We talk about approval of spaces assigned at the discretion of event management. Vendor application fee is non-refundable. It's $50 a day for the morning, $75 a day for the afternoon, and $150 a day for a full day. Our maximum number, Elm Park, is $1,000 for the entire time frame that we've given them at that location. So we're sort of like, we're talking one side of this thing, and now, but Rockland Trust Plaza is something completely different. So it's kind of annoying on our end when you start looking at this, and then we get into, vehicles into there. We will be there to guide you. Tents and carts may be unloaded from Canal Street, operate from a single area at the event space. You must quickly load and find parking. So we're sort of going down this road that we do one thing here, because it makes sense, but then we've tried to make all these changes on our end of it, and now
I think
we
your
want more. It's-
excuse me. I
it's
think your tone is
frustrating.
absolutely rude. Number one, for you to take my application. Excuse me. Wait a minute. Before you do that, to take my application to compare it, there was several things that you mentioned in there that were not
Mr.
right.
Killebrew?
No, hold on.
Mr.
Let me talk.
Killebrew.
Yes. What is it?
Thank you. Once upon a time, we set parameters for our meetings, and we're gonna go back to those parameters tonight. The parameter that we have set up is that people who have come to speak of an item on the agenda may speak for no more than 5 minutes in total on the item submitted. Thank you for coming. Thank
That's
you for
very
bringing
convenient
this
that you
email.
pull that right now.
Thank you
That
for
is
bringing this
crazy.
email to
Absolutely
us.
crazy. And I will be filing definitely with the city manager and for you. That was absolutely rude.
So,
And for matter of fact, the Rockland Trust is not under your commission. It's not a public park.
We are
So to
here-
do that is rude.
So-
Number one, you're gonna start out with noon to 12. That's the same time. First of all, and throughout the season, things have changed for me over at that plaza. I've reduced my prices because it's not a public park. And the vendors that we're talking about are not daily approved vendors. We're talking about special events. So that's completely different than somebody using a public park. Absolutely rude and not necessary. We came to talk about you and what's happening here, not about what's happening at Rockland Trust Plaza, which has nothing to do with the Parks Commission.
We're not gonna get into a shouting match.
I'm not
tonight
shouting.
Over, what's going on where. If the commission, we had an item brought to us, it was an email, it was in everyone's packets. Hopefully, everyone had a chance to read it. Mr. Killebrew has had his 5 minutes to address the.
The only time that you speak up is to shut me down, which is crazy.
We take this and discuss it as a commission, the items here that are on this agenda, that are in this email.
so,
We'll be going to the city manager and everyone about this. Absolutely, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I've been respectful this whole entire time.
excuse me, okay, excuse me. I'm trying to speak, I have let you keep going, please. It's my turn to speak now.
You know what? And you know what, the rest of it, absolutely not.
Please. So, first of all, okay, so through the chair to the administration, totally did not agree with what just went down, okay? I do understand that there are things in parameters that he has set forth within Rockland Trust, but that does not have to do with us here at the parks. That's totally separate. That's not an item that's part of our purview. Now, my thing is some of these items, as Commissioner Ciacciarone has said, we have addressed. So, I'd like to see that some of these items are filed. Are we taking these all as one item? Are we taking them individually?
Commissioner Turner, I would like to see Mr. Killebrew just go through this list and amend it, not just regurgitate an email from a year ago. This is the same email we got a year ago.
I know it is.
And he's just saying, let's do it again, whereas opposed, take some stuff off that we did, and
know
let's
it is.
have a conversation moving forward, not just shotgun approach it.
We've talked about many of these items
Yeah.
at length over the course of several years. And yes, they keep coming back in the same format with the same questions, and several of them don't even pertain to the Parks Commission. So this is not our agenda, this is just an email.
yeah.
Our agenda item is to discuss the items in this email. We can discuss some of them, we don't necessarily have to address them line by line, especially the items that aren't germane to the Parks Commission.
I mean,
So here's one that I can say that we can not address, but it is something that the city should be addressing, is number 5, the agreement of information request. There should be, their collective bargaining agreement is something that should be on our website. It's something that is public knowledge because we do pay these people. Maybe there are parts that shouldn't be, but that is something that definitely should be out in the open. but that's something that the administration will need to address with the city manager.
If this, this did come through Commissioner Darty. So obviously he's been in conversation with Mr. Killebrew to try to bring some of these forward. I would rather just make a motion to move this to old business to allow Commissioner Darty time to speak with Mr. Killebrew to kind of organize his thoughts in a more updated, update this request list.
They could work through, yes.
Yeah,
what
let
the
them work
current
through
vendor
it.
process is, talk about what is and is not possible with the Parks Commission, any, collective bargaining agreements, none of that has to do with us. But we've been through a lot of this. It's there, the process changed, and, a lot of this stuff, I think, is out of our hands when it comes to vendors now. Is that correct, Commissioner Antonelli? The vendor process is mostly managed by purchasing?
So the lottery system is managed by purchasing.
Okay.
We still set the requirements like we did last year. Our anticipation is that we're gonna move forward with the same functionality we did last year. Seemed to work really well. We kept people, we weren't making people bid against each other. We had all of those functionalities that worked. The fact that a vendor that's there decided not to bring on a second vendor is really a decision for that vendor, right? For them to, and we put criteria in there, as this commission did, to make sure that somebody couldn't take it and then charge more
Right.
than what they paid the city,
Was-
or anything along those lines. So they can only pay half of what they paid the city, I think is the language that we have in our agreement, so. And we extended the time,
Wasn't he here for that?
He was.
and we went through this, and then we modified it all. And so I've gone through all of this stuff, and number one, we did, number two, we did, number three. Now, we didn't do it all, we didn't do it to the extent that he's looking for, but
We did something.
we did it till December 31st. We modified it with the commission to say that it's 7 days a week in November and December. We modified the timing at night. We modified, there are no fines. We included sports and events to make sure that there's availability for those that are later on in the evening. So,
I just say through the chair to the the commissioner, the only thing on here really pressing though, I think, is that we do need something when it comes to the fines and fees schedule. Is that going to be part of the fines and fees that you're putting out next meeting?
so to the chair, we don't have fines. I'm sorry.
Actually-
In the rules and regulations, there is a fine of up to $200 based on Mass General Law. Other than that, we've never issued a fine. We don't have fines that we've imposed on anybody.
If you recall, Natalie, what happened was he was given the mistake was probably calling it probationary as opposed to,
Oh,
we gave him 2 weeks or a month of free space.
was that during COVID?
It was at the beginning of when
But he got a time limit free.
Yes.
And then what
Okay.
happened was Rob or the Parks Department said, okay, at this point you have to start paying $50.
Okay.
It just coincidentally happened at the same time somebody complained, and he's calling the probationary complaint and the fee a fine.
Got it. I
We've
remember now.
I've gone over that every meeting for 2 years,
So-
trying to get him to think he can't separate that.
So what, to this item, to come from this item, what I'd like to see come from this item is that we get some type of fines and fee schedule for everything. Overall, whatever currently sits in the rules, our current rules and regulations, that there's a fine and fee schedule put together for that. And then we go from there, like something to start with that the general public will know about, across the board. Because it does become, there's only that $200 fee that's in the Mass General Law, right? But now we have these people breaking the rules in leagues. We have these people as vendors or buskers breaking the park rules. It's just, and they don't understand that there's some financial component to it. So that's what I'd like to see come from this, and then I'd like to see this item filed.
In light of the regurgitated nature of all of this email, many aspects of this email, and the fact that it raises issues that are not within the purview of this commission, and given the speaker's outburst, it would be my preference to just dispose of this request if possible.
Hey, I'm okay with that. I
You're
second
saying to
that.
file it?
Yeah.
File it. Okay.
The only reason I hesitate to file it is because Commissioner Darty isn't here. In theory, we probably shouldn't have let Mr. Killebrew speak without Commissioner Darty here, because it is his item. I don't want to take something off of Commissioner Darty.
Sure, but he was here, but I think Commissioner Darty could probably work with Mr.
Okay.
Killebrew to repackage,
Then fine.
I kind of agree with him.
to repackage
I just don't want to
what's-
step, I just,
what's here.
I think, so I would say move it to old business and, until Commissioner Doherty, is able to speak on it.
Can I make a recommendation?
sure.
Why don't you do two separate items? One is to file the item, and second is a motion to have Commissioner Doherty work with Mr. Killebrew to revise this document and resubmit for the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to file item 8H.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Tattaroni,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro,
Yes.
I'm gonna make a motion to request Commissioner Darty to work with Mr. Killebrew to provide a new document, with only identifying the relevant issues as opposed to just regurgitating this old email.
Second.
Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Tattaroni,
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro,
Yes.
I make a motion to close this meeting.
Second.
Commissioner Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Tattaroni.
Yes.
Commissioner Serrato,
Yes.
Commissioner Stratton,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaro.
Yes.
Good.
Woo! 8:29.